We're going to talk about what is it about profit that actually makes the podcast successful, not only because it makes you successful on a financial level, but why is profit so important actually for your listeners? Why is it important that there is something that they can buy? So Steph, let's talk about profit. This really is where you are queen. What do we need to know about this?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with who feels weird about sales? Like on a scale of 1 to 5, where are you guys at with sales? 1's like, bleh, like I hate it, 5 is, I love it. I'm obsessed. Okay. Okay, so we got a big range here. That's good. That's great. And here's the truth. Sales is a skill. So the first thing about this when it comes to profit is like we have to learn to love selling. Selling is not what you guys think it is. It's an invitation. It's a, hey, you want to teach people karate. And guess what? I have a karate class that I can market that is going to give you what you need, right? It's this beautiful invitation that you're going to effortlessly weave straight into the podcast. And so I want, first of all, for everyone to understand, I believe that when we decide what our pocket niche is and we go all in and we build the house and we decide, what is my thing that I'm going to do? We have to, it's actually our responsibility to say, I don't just want to create a bunch of leads over here and like let them wander. I want to create a lot of friends that are actual heartbeats that I can serve and take them all the way to the solution that I have for them. Like people don't come and listen to my podcast and go like, oh, I want to start a podcast one day and make money from it. And thanks for like bringing me into your podcast, Steph, but I still don't know how. I still don't believe that I can. I still don't have the way. That my responsibility is to say, how do I get you from I want to start a show and build a profitable podcast to I've done it. I'm making money from my show. I'm working in this amazing amount of time. I'm free from the social media hustle if I want to be. I feel like what I'm doing is in full alignment with the purpose over my life. This is so incredible. That's my job. It's my mission. And so what I want everyone here to understand is your little niche that you're going to serve. It's not just to serve, but it's to solve their problem. And that is how you will make profit. Okay. So what does profit mean? It means that you are marketing something on your show that is going to return a revenue, which is whatever people pay for that product. And then you have to do certain things with that revenue, right? Maybe some goes to the host of your course, or if you're affiliating, you're going to market some back to the person you're affiliating for. We'll talk about my 4 favorite ways to profit in a second. But at the end of the day, what profit is left for your business, your family, if you want to give, whatever those things are, it's critically important, I think, that as business owners, we are profiting in a meaningful way. I'm not afraid of money, and I don't think you should be afraid of it either, because all it means is that people are paying for the solution that they desperately need anyway. And when we have people pay for something, they show up for it. Do you guys realize you paid 40 some bucks to be here in this class? You're here, right? How many of you have ever signed up for a free thing and you're like, whatever, I don't have time for that today. Like, we pay for something, we show up for it. And so that is why I know that each and every one of you can profit from that pocket niche that you're going to serve. So my 4 favorite ways to profit from a podcast. And these are going to be in my least favorite to my most favorite. And then we'll talk about some hows, and Kath will put her 2 cents in here. So the one that you guys are thinking of, like, how do I make money from a podcast, is sponsorships. You're thinking, okay, I'm going to go and have, whatever company sponsor my show. Let's say that you're a meal prepping podcast and you're like, I want to go to Thrive Market and have them sponsor the show. Is that what anybody's thinking? Like, this is how you make money from a podcast? That's actually my very least favorite way. Why? Because you're going to make pennies on the download, and people don't actually buy something unless they truly know that you believe in it. So if you're like, I'm going to be sponsored, it better be something you use all the time. you constantly talk about it on your shows, and like, you don't really care about the type of profit that it makes for you, because it's not going to be much for a really long time until you have really, really big numbers. So that's sponsorship. My second favorite is called affiliate marketing. And this would be for those of you who are like, I don't really want to have my own thing. Like, that doesn't feel great for me. I would rather find somebody else who has a meal planning course and sell their thing on my podcast. And then you make a commission. And it's usually between 20, 30% commission on average. You make money that way. That's a great, easy win for people who don't want their own thing. That's my second favorite. Okay. My second to most favorite one is coaching. So this is my favorite because when your show is newer, we may not have the numbers yet to drive people into like a membership community and actually hit those higher numbers. Or we may not know, what is my course going to be? What is my thing going to be? Coaching is such a great way, you guys. You basically get paid to do market research. And call it what you want, coaching or mentorship. And it's for me, I didn't want to coach forever, but I wanted to coach for one, to help people. Secondly, to make more profit in my business. But third, to learn, what did they really desperately need from me so that I could go create my favorite thing, a course, whether it's like a passive, fully self-study course or an in-person group coaching type course. That's my absolute favorite way to monetize a podcast. And the reasons those are my two favorites is because you have the highest profit margin. Okay. Let's say that you sell a coaching call for $100. We'll do a little math here. Let's see if I can do this. Not great at math. Okay. Even though I have an accounting degree, this is the funniest part, right?
I have a calculator in front of me, so just tell me what you got.
Oh, no.
I'll add it up.
Okay, we'll try to do easy math. So let's think of 1,000 podcast listeners. Okay, everybody, 1,000 people listening to your podcast. And you sell 1% of your podcast listeners every single month. We have 10 sales coming in hot every single month at $100. Let's say you have $100 coaching session. You have made $1,000 per month off of your podcast with only 10 hours of your time. What an incredible place to just start. Let me tell you guys something crazy about what happened for me with coaching. I started with $80 an hour. Within 18 months, or maybe it was 20 months, we were at $800 an hour per coaching call. I don't coach anymore because I capped out. And now I have my courses and my group coaching program, right? And now people go into that, and it's much more of like a passive model. So I'm telling you guys that because 1% conversion on your podcast listenership, it's very possible. Most of my students are getting to that point within 12 months of having that niche dialed in and having all the things in place. Profiting from a show is something that we do every single day. And then I know there's lots of like, but how and what is it? We have all of that between Cathy and my programs that we're going to help you guys with in the future. But those are how we can profit. What questions come up, Cathy, or what do you want to add to that?
I want to add some stuff, and I love what you just shared. And here's what I'm going to say. You touched on it at the beginning, and so I just want to go a little further with it. Is why is it so good for your audience? It's because we all come to this world every day, and one of the things that we want is to expand. We want a transformation. We want to evolve. We want to live into our potential. Now, why am I so impressed and proud of you guys for being here today? And why did we charge for this? I'll tell you, it's actually for you. Why did I say that? Because it is. Because what we see in the data, and what I love about data is it's just science, right? It's just math. So it's hard to argue with it, is that in order for a person to actually do something, even if they say they're going to do it, they actually have to have accountability, or else they don't. So 97% is what the data shows, that you're actually going to get it done, but only if you have accountability by 97%, which means you're 97% more likely to actually do what you said you're going to do because you were kept accountable. Now, what keeps people accountable? Sunk costs, right? If you, like me, I had to pay my own way through college. You best believe I got straight A's. I paid for that, right? I had sunk costs. I was invested. I wasn't going to miss class. That's why I was such a nerd during college and I never went out, because it mattered to me, because I wasn't going to be able to ask mom and dad to just pay for more semesters and all that stuff, right? So when you came here today and you paid whatever it was for you to come to this workshop, it got you here. And if you want to learn anything, whether it's how to start an Airbnb or you want to be better at playing chess, if you just tell yourself, oh, I'll just watch some free YouTube videos on that, then I can tell you just based on data that you're not actually going to follow through. And so why is that important? Well, there are people who listen to your podcast. Let's say you have one, and let's say you don't provide something that will give them that accountability and that transformation and like really allow them to exchange their sunk cost, their investment of time, their investment of money. If you don't do that, guess what? Someone else will. Someone else will. And I know that people get in their head and they have all kinds of conversations with themselves that prevent them from selling something. But I will tell you what, we like to buy things as people. So on the other end, how often do you like to buy yourself a ticket to a concert? Do you like to buy yourself shoes? Do you like to buy yourself a retreat? It feels good to spend money. Actually, we don't have problems with it on that side, but we go into a whole song and dance about it on the other side. It's actually just neutral. What I like to say is it's either free or it has value, which means it costs value. So podcasts that I put out are free. You can have them all day long. And I actually think they are valuable. But if you want more value, right, then there is a buyer at every price, because people don't buy price, they buy value. And for people who are buying the value, there's a value attached to it. And it's for the person who wants to actually not just keep a to-do list running, but I like to say have a to-done list. That to-done list, buying something from the person, that's the insurance policy that now it's done. Right? I can tell myself all day long I want to eat better, but if I go to Costco and I actually buy myself the Vitamix and I spend that money on it, I might actually make these smoothies, right? But if I don't, maybe just maybe I'm actually not going to follow through. I agree with Steph that sponsorship, like even at the level I'm at where we have a lot of downloads, it is pennies on the dollar and I can't stand it. And I really at this point have tried to scrub my podcast of those ads. And we are now, and we're being much more intentional. And the way to grow an incredible business is to really focus on depth and intimacy, and then to create this free value, and then to create value for value. And imagine if, like Steph said, you take those numbers and you get to the place where you can have a course or a membership, and now people are paying $1,000 or $2,000, or they come to a retreat for $3,000. It grows so quickly without you needing the popular vote, because you have a small group of people, but they're paying a lot for the value. And with 1,000 super fans, I like to say, if your goal is not 50 million followers or 100,000 followers on Instagram, but if your goal is that over the next 3 years, I want to touch 1,000 people, I want to connect with 1,000 people and really deeply make them feel seen. Well, first of all, they will become your biggest fan base and they will do the work for you. They will market for you. Because people who really feel seen, they feel compelled to tell someone else about you. That's what's happened with my show. That's what happened with Stefanie's show. And then if those people, that small group out of 8 billion people in the world, if you just focused on 1,000 human beings over time being the people that feel seen by you, if you do that math, right? And if those customers over the life of being with you spend $500 or $1,000, you make millions of dollars is what happens. And so I like to reframe, because I find that every time I meet somebody that is in their own way, we overestimate what's required, which makes us do nothing. And we underestimate what's actually available that we could do. And so we need to be really clear, what is the task at hand? Okay. And if you see the task at hand, then I'm here to tell you, I'm certain that you could touch those lives. And I'm certain that you could be focusing on those people so hard and so well that they go tell other people. And those 10 people, they tell 3 friends. That turns to 30. And those 30 people tell 3 friends. And that's how most of the most powerful businesses and movements in this world were ever created.